the North End. This is the North End.
Hi everyone, welcome to the North End. My name's Aizaz and I'm going to be doing the 5 things we learned from Liverpool versus Manchester United, the Liverpool edition. Number one, the slow starts have to stop. So how many games is that now that we've gone 1-0 behind? I think it's 5 or 6, to be honest with you. And really, for a team who went through a lot of their evolution, showing character and coming back from behind, you can't just give Premier League teams the head start every single time, or a Champions League team, because of course one of those games was unfortunately the Champions League final. And it just has to stop. I think it's a hard enough task at the start of the season with some of the things we're going to discuss today. You cannot give the impetus to the other team, particularly if they are at home, particularly if they've also had a bad start, and particularly to give them something to hold on to. So number one, Liverpool, what we learned today is that's it. The slow starts have to stop. We cannot move forward in the Premier League if we're always coming from 1-0 behind. This isn't a video game. This isn't some kind of situation where things are just going to work out. If you give good Premier League teams a head start and something to hold on to, they're going to frustrate. They're going to do all the tactics that we saw again yesterday as well. And I may or may not come on to that, but that's not really the point. The slow starts have to stop. Liverpool have to come out the traps like they used to, take the lead, and then draw teams out and make it 2-3-0. It's really simple, and yet for some reason, it's something that we just cannot get a hold of right now. I think it kind of segues into point number two, because Liverpool's confidence has gone. Where did the confidence go? You've got some of the most confident players in the world acting like they've never done anything, they've never won anything, and quite frankly, they've won everything. So particularly two other people who I think from the confidence side is Trent Alexander-Arnold and Virgil van Dijk. Two guys who have made their name on being confident, shoulders out when the chips are down, and their body language and their whole passive nature right now, for some people, they don't care. They don't seem to really care or want it anymore. I personally don't think we're there at the moment. I think like any human being, everyone is entitled to a confidence crash. Unfortunately, they play in the same position and they're having that confidence crash at the same time. And they're not the only two, but it's just a big, big thing that confidence in life, in football, gives you the opportunity to go and reach that next level, or take a 8 out of 10 to a 10, have moments of magic. And Liverpool collectively and individually have no confidence at the moment. And it's really costing us. It's part of the reason why we are where we are. And where did it come from as well? Because if there's one thing you could say about that Community Shield game, there was a lot of confidence, and at different times in pre-season as well. And it's worth bearing in mind as well that yesterday was Liverpool's first league defeat in this calendar year. It's August the 23rd, and Liverpool have not lost since they lost to Leicester City away at the end of December. So just think about that for a minute. Think about how privileged Liverpool fans are that their first defeat is coming in August. So also all of the doom and gloom that's also attached to this, I get it, I understand it, I agree with it, but also on the flip side, people once again, like I said last week, need to relax. Not relax like everything's going to sort itself out, because it's not. We're in the proverbial shit. We need to get ourselves out of it. But at the same time, this was our first Premier League defeat. The players, however, they're playing like they've had multiple Premier League defeats recently. And that's another problem with those draws, I think, against Fulham and Crystal Palace, feeling like a defeat. And that's just the standard that particularly Manchester City, but even Liverpool have set in the last couple of years. But enough is enough now. As well as the slow starts having to stop from point number one, we have to work hard to do the right things to get our confidence and momentum back up. Easier said than done. Real world greats have lost confidence, and sometimes it's taken them a long time to get it back. So this is not a pretty picture, but this is just something that we have to address collectively as a team. Point number three, Key players are missing for us. So coming into the season, having 8, 9, 10 people who could potentially have started at Old Trafford not available is costing us, and it would cost any team. I'm not using it as an excuse. Brian from our channel said something that's right, which is this is the reason for Liverpool's poor start. I don't know if I can completely use that, because then it's just a Liverpool fan trying to take a way out. But at the end of the day, there aren't many teams ever in world football who can allow for 10 key injuries. And one example of that is this isn't a popular opinion with Liverpool fans, but Joe Gomez is our fourth choice player. He is a drop off from Joe Matip. He is a drop off from Ibu Kanate. And last night, I think he wasn't at his best. And for Joe Gomez to get back to his best, he needs to play league games. But while he's playing league games, trying to get back to his best, Liverpool are suffering. So he can't play league games if Matip and Kanate are playing. So key players are missing. The deputies are not at the level. And, another example, like James Milner worked so hard yesterday, but firstly, look at his age. Secondly, where was he even playing? And that's no disrespect to James Milner. He worked hard. He was the only one who cared. We saw it at the first goal when he completely got in Virgil van Dijk's face to ask him what he was doing for that first goal. But at the same time, he's not at the level anymore that you can start him at Old Trafford when other key players are missing. And he did play last year in the 5-0 for sure. But that day, Naby Keita, for example, had his season-defining match. So realistically, when you have these key players missing, not only do the deputies have to come in and be as good as the other people just for the 90 minutes or for the 2-3 games, but also the other key players who are in their positions need to be playing. So once again, see point number 2, where we have some players who are world class not performing at that level, and then the deputies are coming in and also not performing up to their standard. It's just a recipe for two draws and a defeat, or 3 defeats, as it feels. Point number 4, don't really want to pepper too much good into this, but this one needs calling out. So Mo Salah yesterday joined Steven Gerrard as Liverpool's Liverpool's top goal scorer with 120 goals in the Premier League. So second now only to Robbie Fowler. Incredible. And then he is now also the top scorer in this fixture for Liverpool. Once again, legendary status. That's all I'm going to say on that one. And then point number 5, what we learned is Liverpool can make no more excuses now. The first 2 games, you can say the first game is to a newly promoted team. It's a random first day game. It happens. Loads of teams, including us, really good teams, have slipped up on the first day of the season. Then you can easily say that the Crystal Palace game, as it was, smash and grab. They got the first goal. They held on to it. Cool. Third game, it's never, ever a bad thing to lose at Old Trafford. Even with Man United in their current predicament, even with some of the antics we saw last night, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Man United is still a top club. Their fans were up for it. Love the protests, by the way. Seem to forget certain things at certain times, but hey, I guess that's what beating Liverpool comes down to. More important than all these big brash things that were going to happen. But anyway, Man United, our top club, they showed up yesterday. They were up for it. They outworked us. You cannot be outworked at one of these top grounds and come away with a win. From now on, what we learned is there are no more excuses. I hear that the players are missing. I've just talked about it. I hear that there are other things happening. It really doesn't matter. We have to go to 3 p.m. England, 10 a.m. here in Toronto on Saturday, home game against Bournemouth, and the season starts there. I think there's 102 points to play for. We have to get a lot of them. Still think that my prediction from a couple of weeks ago, where many points will be dropped, is going to ring true. Manchester City look ominous. They look amazing. But I think that there's enough quality in the Premier League this time to stop them. Just a draw here, a defeat there. more draws than defeats. I still think it could be high 80s, mid to high 80s. So with 102 points to play for, I still don't want to write anything off right now, and I'm not writing anything off right now. But the season is more in the position of drastically falling off the cliff than being an epic one. So Liverpool need to turn this around. Anyway, as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, and yeah, see you back again here on Saturday. This defeat feels worse the day after. So for the Liverpool fans, if you've got anything to help me process this defeat, please comment it below. Otherwise, speak to you soon. Thanks for having me.
This is the North End. This is the North End.